Yeah. You know that's not true. You want to go? Can we all? The students on the panel, can you take your seats here on the couches? Absolutely. Be my guest. Oh,
Seated.
Fantastic. Okay, comfortable and so on. We got EOD, motion, mobile. Look at that. Perfect amount of seats. Cool. Welcome, guys. My name is Jeff. I work as the Global Admissions Project Manager. What I like to think is that I'm like the first friend that a prospective student might have. There might be a few of you here. So I do a lot of events, marketing, recruitment, hand-holding, counseling, and I do admin as well. I just want to say welcome.
Thank you. And I'm Daniel Oppenheim, and I work as a student recruiter here at the Hyper Island. And I think that I've been in contact with quite a few of you on email, and email conversation about this open house. I'm really glad to see you here today, and we're really here for you and for your questions, and I will be available during this open house for you.
And all spring.
Yeah.
We're going to take this evening in English. English is the working language at Hyper Island. So, since it is a panel discussion and there's going to be interaction between you guys, so please don't be shy. But if we speak too quickly, too fast, or use words that you might not understand, stop us. Okay? Trying to set some ground rules. So this is the second of three open houses, and tonight we're doing This is the second of three open houses. I feel like I'm on Oprah. And tonight is a panel discussion. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about that. The agenda for this evening, I'm going to quickly talk about Hyper Island. Try not to bore you, but there's some important things that you might want to know or you might want to learn from this evening. Then we have a student panel representing our programs here in both Stockholm and Karlskrona. And we'll have a panel discussion. The way that's going to work is I'm going to throw a topic up on the screen, and hopefully you guys are eager enough to ask questions pertaining to those topics. I'm going to act as like a moderator to help the dialogue, help the conversation along, but it's really, tonight is your night. Get all those answers to those burning questions that you might have. And I haven't briefed these students. They're going to share their own experiences with you. So, cool. Questions so far?
Yeah. And I just want to say, I don't want to be rude sitting with my computer here, but I'm trying to monitor the Twitter, so that's why I'm looking at the display sometimes here. So just for your information.
Cool. So make yourself at home, get comfortable. There's plenty of seats, you guys. Cool. that space, and students work in cells, and it's weird. But we're also here in Stockholm. But back then in 1996, today we feel that we're trying to teach our young, talented people cutting edge tech like digital and mobile design and digital data strategy. But back then in 1996, can anyone guess what that industry was? Has anybody read our website? Do you know? Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. Oh, it was CD-ROM. I don't know if anyone was born in the 80s, but yeah. So now we don't teach CD-ROM classes. But the main point for you guys to understand is that traditional colleges and universities weren't producing the talent that the industry required. So that's why our programs mimic the industry. That's why our students work directly with the industry. We're still in Stockholm, we're still in Karlskrona, but we're also pretty global. We have offices and campuses in New York, in Manchester, the UK, and in Singapore. We offer master's programs in Singapore and in the UK. And this might be a little bit boring, but it's important to point out. Hyper Island is kind of like a two-legged creature, like us. And we operate within executive programs and in student programs. So Hyper Island is a YH school. It is an yrkeshögskolan, and that's what our students are involved in or participate in. But we also help out companies and individuals, professionals, and that's our executive program. So for instance, we've done work with Target and ran training for their senior people. And here's a few of our programs, all but the Masters in Digital Media Management is represented here today by our students. So we have a digital media creative program. It's 90 weeks long. It's our longest program that we offer. It's pretty broad. It's probably our broadest program. Interactive art director. It's only 45 weeks, just shy of a year. Digital data strategist, motion, mobile, and our master's program, which is only offered in Singapore and in the UK, but it's worth mentioning. Questions so far? Yes?
Just roughly, which program do you get most applications for?
Digital media and interactive. Yeah.
And maybe worth mentioning is that the mobile creative program will be in Stockholm also 2014,
Yeah.
starting in August.
Only in Stockholm.
Only in Stockholm, yeah, I mean.
So it's going to move from Karlskrona up to Stockholm. Feel free to ask questions though. Yeah, go for it.
How many seats is
Each program? So we have 35 Nordic seats for each program.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That means like 35 state subsidized seats.
Exactly.
The rest is 200,000 crowns.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit about our weird methods. Maybe you've been online, maybe you've heard, maybe you've seen some of our videos. We claim that there's no teachers, there's no textbooks, there's no homework. It's pretty much true. We don't have traditional teachers. We do have facilitators and program managers, which might be the closest thing to a teacher that you have. They act like a counselor. They act as a coach, a mentor. But the closest thing to a teacher is also the industry folk that come in and actually give our lectures to the students. We believe in collaboration and in mixed teams. We have students from over 33 countries. And everybody, people come from all different walks of life. So the dynamics in our programs is like unbelievable. We have students that are former poker players or hockey players. Then we have students that are traditional journalist majors and traditional creatives. But there's not one particular Hyper Island mold, per se, that we're looking for. We believe in the potential of the individual, and we kind of pride ourselves on the fact that we are so diverse. Self-awareness, group dynamics. I touched on group dynamics. Self-awareness, I don't think Hyper Island, I don't think we're experts in technical things. I think what we're experts in is group dynamics, personal development, and team dynamics and personal growth. We curate the content. So the motion graphics students, for example, they get the skills needed to survive in the motion industry, but we create awesome team members. So that kind of translates across industries. Some of you, this might be redundant. Some of you may have already started your online application, may have applied in the past. But the online application is actually found online at hyperisland.com. Hey, welcome. You have to go to a specific program to find that Apply Now button. But for instance, if you're interested in the Interactive Art Director program, you go to Interactive Art Director. There's some info, but there's also the Apply Now button. We require you to, hey, welcome guys. We require you to submit your documents, so like high school transcripts, college transcripts, CVs, photo, and the creative task, the dreaded creative task. That all needs to be submitted by April the 15th for Nordic students. So if you have a personnummer, that's your deadline. Once we have assessed all the applications and made sure that they, yes, question?
The documents, are they supposed to be English or Swedish?
We can, like for instance, like your gymnasiebetyg, like your slutbetyg, that's in Swedish, that's fine. But like your CV, preferably in English. Yeah, but everything has to be submitted digitally, so that's good to know. Thank you for reminding me. So you don't need to send in like a paper app. You don't need to send anything via snail mail. Once we assess those apps, we go ahead and send out our invitations to the admissions days, where you have another individual creative task, a group task, and an interview. So we do take a very personal approach to the admissions process. And then in June, you get offered your seat. And all the programs here in Sweden start the first week of August. This year, August the 4th, so take note. Question?
When's the admission day?
Yeah. What is it?
When?
When? It's the end of May. It's like May 22nd through the 27th. Each program has its specific day. So if you're invited to the digital media admissions day, it's a specific day. I think it's like the 21st or 22nd this year of May. Enough of that. So I want to introduce our panel. Can you guys introduce yourselves?
Yes.
And I'll.
I have mic.
No, I think it'll pick you up if I just hang on to it.
Hi guys, I'm Idil. I'm in the DM class.
And what's the DM?
Digital Media Creative. Sorry, DMC we're called. Yes.
Yeah, I'm Niklas with the mobile design and development that will be changed to mobile creative, correct?
Yeah.
I'm from Karlskrona, so we're dying breed.
We still have motion and digital media down there.
Yeah, but the mobile.
And I'm Sirak. I study here I am in the DDS program, which is the Digital Data Strategy program.
And I am Fernanda. I study at the Interactive Art Director program.
My name is Charlotte, or Charlie. I study motion creative.
Can you guys hear back there?
Yeah.
Sure. Cool. Awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you guys. I feel like we're on like Oprah. What's up? I'm Rich. Cool. Any questions before we start? Do you guys have a long list of burning questions? Awesome. It's already time for an energizer. Cool. So, pre-Hyper Island is the subject I want to talk about with you guys. I'll open it up to the group. Are there any questions that you want to ask our panel regarding pre-Hyper Island? Their lives before Hyper Island. Nobody's interested. Yes!
Okay. Did you have any previous experience of what you're choosing to study now?
Indirectly, no. I'm from the academia with IT pedagogy, and I basically got in contact with when I applied for a job. But it was like, yeah, you're kind of missing something, and he was a Hyper student, and he introduced me to Hyper Island Karlskrona, and that basically opened up a dialogue. So that's another way to go in and just try and be sincere about your passion about getting in there, because apparently they appreciate that aspect as well, that I was willing to put myself in a place where I was very vulnerable and had no idea what I'm doing, but it paid off.
I studied 3D and special effects before. And I've done graphic things by myself, but not work with it.
Can you speak up a little bit so the
Yeah,
people in
I'm
the back
sorry.
can?
Should
You're not just talking to her. Just make
Yeah.
sure you do.
should I say it again? Or?
Yeah, please.
I studied 3D and special effects before, but have no working experience within anything graphic, really.
What about the rest of you guys?
I graduated from university and then I started working in the industry, and I thought that coming here would give me some refresh of what is going on now. Have a refresh in my mind and some new subjects.
What did you study at the university?
I was studying graphic design, but there are actually some different backgrounds in IAD, so it doesn't need necessarily to be a graphic designer or a director of any sort.
And I had the similar background, I would say, but I studied both in university, and then I worked in in-house at a company here in Sweden. But then I felt I needed to have the more data knowledge. That's why I applied for the digital data strategy program. So I had a relevant background, but not necessarily like the data hands-on knowledge.
Can I just ask you, sir, did you have a lot of friends that you heard of Hyper Island from, or how did you come across Hyper Island?
Yeah, I actually had a couple of friends and 2 cousins that study here. So they were on me saying like, go to Hyper Island, you really need to go to Hyper Island, study there, and etc. So that was how I got in contact with Hyper Island. But since they're my friends and my cousins, of course they're gonna tell me that it's like the best thing. So I went for the Hyper Island Festival, the open house, to really get the opinion from another person that doesn't know me, and it matched my expectations well.
And Idia, what's your story?
My story. Where do I begin? Oprah?
Nah.
No, I'm just kidding. My story. No,
Expose.
I went to the university for a couple of years. Everything from media communication to now I'm forgetting everything. But yeah, a lot of different stuff. But just before Hyper, I studied at Södertörn. Was a lot of front end development. So I was a little bit prepared, but not for everything that I learned later on. So that was a little bit like that. Yep.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So you all seem to have more or less relevant background, and I'm wondering how is Hyper Island helping you build upon the knowledge you had before you started studying here?
I mean, they push
Makes
us
sense.
all day to step up out of our comfort zone, and to really push ourselves to try new stuff that so we actually fail and learn by that. And that's what we do, I mean, all day long, I guess.
Yes.
And it's
That's
weird, but we're all, at least I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, we actually learned things that we weren't expecting to learn, and it actually builds really good up to our at least in my case, what I had before. And also the part of the group dynamics and being a member, being a leader, and working with everybody. This is something that I think is the best pearl in here, I would say. That you will leave a better person. You can actually communicate much better.
Okay.
And you can actually build the bridge with whoever, with the team.
And there's like a lot of knowledge in the classes. There's different levels of what people know. So it's a lot of DM class, digital media. We had like a lot of workshops when if there's someone's that good in like Photoshop, he would or she would go through it all. Like this is the first step. So we always help each other. If it's something that they know, then they can teach each other. So it's like not learning by doing, but it's like helping each other maybe, I would say.
And then doing.
The
Yeah,
smartest
then
person
doing.
in the room is the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But the school I went to was crap before Hyper Island.
Can you speak up?
The school that I went to was crap. So
That's the name of the school.
it's Gävle högskola. The program doesn't exist anymore. But I learned some things there. But I have to say that I didn't expect to learn so much about myself. I'm 27 years old.
Okay.
I didn't expect to grow as much as a person. Like I've been here since August, and I've learned so much about myself since I came here. That was really unexpected for me, I would say.
Yeah, and also the whole aspect of getting something to do something. It's for example when I go back to learning programming in school, you get here, just do these tasks. You're never going to touch it again. But when you do something that you're actually going to use in the future, or you are producing something for a client, then you suddenly like, the stuff I'm doing is valuable, not just for
You put
me,
much
but
more into it,
yeah, and it feels personal, and you do something rather than just, well, for a grade. You're actually involving yourself in a group process. And I want to stress the group process, the team. It's super important.
Did you have a question?
No, we pretty much answered.
Cool. I kind of jumped the gun with this question.
Yeah,
didn't I?
it's okay.
Sorry.
You have a question?
Yeah, I guess that you only need your interest to like know more
and the DM needs to help me now. It's programming or development, web development, and then it's design, and then it's organization. Yeah. So that's like what you want to choose for specialization.
Specializing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a question, but if you could describe each of the programs with 3 words, like most, I don't know, like 3 words that would program best. What would you say if you just go?
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Challenge for you.
I love it.
I would say future.
Which program?
Digital data strategy.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Those are the 3 words you used?
Maybe.
Sorry.
Yeah, for mobile could be integration, touch, and no touch. It's basically the exploring that either you hold something or, yeah, that was too many words.
I'm trying to come up with words that would describe the program, not my class. Because we did a manifesto in the beginning. I can't really say the love is the lube could describe the motion program, but it can describe my class, the sexual tension. But motion, sort of no limit.
I would say short time director.
Short time director.
Yeah, short. I mean, because you actually do stuff in a really short time and you come up with amazing things. So you become, I don't know, short time director.
Yeah, that's
Mine is the hardest as well, like 2 years and 3 words. I would say exploring and look at you guys here. Exploring and then
You could crowdsource it.
yeah, anyone. 3 words. Exploring is one, and then
Everything.
Wrong.
Raw. Digital media creative.
so bad. No, but I would say exploring and then
Cross-disciplinary, I would say.
future based, a lot of future, and then I want to say something about the group.
Friends for life.
Love.
Yeah, okay, love. That's the 3rd one. Yeah.
And also I want to stress about mobile. It's don't think mobile apps or just a cell phone. That's my advice if you're going into that program. Because there's so much more that you're doing now with mobile design. You can pretty much think of a refrigerator and a car now being connected into to your TV screen, to your lamps or whatever. It's everything in between. Anything you can think of that is so mobile in some sense is what we're doing.
Smart and connected.
Yeah. So yeah, there was some one of our PMs made just on a hobby project made a lock to his cell phone, so we can let. I think it even was Måns Adler who made he could unlock his door for a friend to go in and if he were too late or whatever. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna talk about the creative task, but it's okay. Well, I'm gonna save it then.
Since you all guys go to this school, how does a average day in the school go from the moment you wake up to the time you go home? How does it usually look?
Is it close to deadline or is it?
Just a typical day. Make sure you speak up.
Okay.
Like use a big voice so everyone can hear.
They could also depend on what project you're in, because the whole program consists of projects, various weeks. So it
A
would
busy
depend.
day.
Well, for what we have now, you're in the motion studio right now. As you can see, this is clean right now. It's sort of hectic. I start my morning by, as soon as I come here to school at 9:30, because we decided that. We get started on whatever we need to do, have a meeting, stand-up meeting, to see what we need to do for the day. And then we get started with animation, maybe plan ideas or whatever, different things for where you are in the project. But we're working with real clients right now, so it could also be client meetings, than just producing. Having some fun in the middle of everything, of course.
Yeah, important.
Yeah, it's a playground here.
Yeah.
Skateboards and everything.
And ping pong.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, they close at 11. Go after that. Sometimes you need.
Question.
Hello. Well, some of us here got out about a half a year before starting our time at Hyper Island. What would you say we should practice before going into the school?
I don't really
not
get
sure.
the beginning of it.
She said that like starting from today on till August, the start of the programs, we only have about 6 months, 7 months, half a year. So she's asking your advice. What do you suggest they do to better prepare themselves for August, whether that's skills or, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Be sociable is a huge part of it. I'm not just talking about talking with people. It's researching what you're doing, checking out. Even before, start thinking about where you want to be. So sort of, instead of, let's say you are a developer, don't just focus on being a developer. Give yourself like a really dreamy goal of, could be however abstract you want it to be, but something that you work on that's beyond the obvious what you are. That
Yeah, prepare yourself to open up. I mean, open your heart and psychologically, because you're gonna end up doing it. So prepare.
And also prepare that your day is gonna be super long. So if you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, or work or something around, let them know that you're gonna go into a very hectic period.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you have any short courses? Yeah, so we have 3-day-long master classes. These are for working class professionals. These fall under the executive programs that I kind of painted a quick picture on. We also have an evening course, and we're running those courses in Stockholm, in Malmö, in Amsterdam. We also have part-time courses, but there's one in London starting up in September, and there's one in Singapore. Those are master's programs. But yeah, the evening courses I would recommend that you research, and the master classes that I recommend you research.
How is it possible to combine studying and working part-time, like 50% or less? Is it anyhow possible?
Great question.
I would say no.
I would, no. I don't think so.
Still, it depends. I know there's parents in my class. There's people working. You need to figure that out with the groups you're in. So it is possible, but you need to talk with your teammates and.
Because we have several. Sorry, did I interrupt you there?
No.
Okay. In almost every project I've been in mobile. We had someone who's working either part-time, full-time, and actually balancing that. We even had people going to BTH or like the Tekniska Högskolan at the same time. So they were, I don't know how they managed it, but they apparently do. I guess they don't do anything else, but
I think the most important thing is that the more you give Hyper Island, the more you will get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it's up to you, I guess.
Mark.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think I would recommend to plan your day 9 to 5 at Hyper at least, because that's the time it's going to take. And I mean, even if there's like you're responsible for your own stuff, if you're in a group and all the members can work 9 to 5, but you can't, then you're more of a struggle in a way. So I think I would recommend not having another education, another like full-time job or 50% time job. Like some people freelance during the time at Hyper, but that's like, yeah, nighttime and so on. But I would definitely not recommend to have, if you want to get 100% out of Hyper, you should give it 100%. And also one more thing to the thing before with preparing for Hyper.
Yeah.
One thing that I try to tell everybody is try to prepare to learn either PowerPoint or Keynote, because it makes everything easier. It's not, you don't need to do this, but it's just to make the journey a little bit easier. And also the basics of the Adobe family, like the Creative Suits.
But that's for your program.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of like presentations and for everything. So it's just like, just have a small understanding. You don't need it. But
Okay, so this topic was pre-Hyper Island. So can we move on?
Actually, I have an actual pre-Hyper Island
You do?
question.
Let's hear it.
I was recommended by a guy who used to study here a book I should be reading before I hopefully commence my studies here.
Yeah.
And it's The Idea Agent.
Okay.
I'm done with it. Could you recommend something else?
We recommend students to read a book by Susan Whelan called Creating Effective Teams, I believe. You can Google it.
Read that one. Then it's great.
Yeah.
It's super good.
Good either way.
And that's something that we touch upon throughout the courses. So, Creating Effective Teams by Susan Whelan. Cool. Stockholm and Karlskrona. Are there any questions that fall under this category that anybody has?
Is there a big difference between the schools? Why would one choose Stockholm before Karlskrona, for example?
Yeah, so his question was, is there a big difference between the schools? Why would you choose Stockholm or Karlskrona, right?
That's another tough question because I've only studied at Karlskrona. So, but from what I heard, people have studied in Stockholm or people who I've met that studied here.
Make sure you speak up. So
Yeah, sorry. It's Karlskrona is it's a much smaller town, but the working environment is we are pretty much socializing with ourselves. I mean, we do meet people when we are out there, but the nightlife in Karlskrona is kind of, well, meh. So we take a lot of that. So it's a very fluid environment when you work, and a lot of us end up doing stuff outside of Hyper together, projects and otherwise. So, and I'm pretty sure it's similar here, but yeah, it's when I got here now, it feels very familiar, but different. It's I don't know. It's the same setup, and just replace these like black and white chrome stuff with wooden panels and stuff, and you have this very similar place. And the cells, of course. When we're naughty, we get sent in there. So like you stay in there till you settle down and so on.
Are there any advantages to studying in Karlskrona? Could you say?
I can't really think of any. Why? I would probably flip a coin if I just. But in a sense, it's nice there. Well, it's the summertime of the awesomeness. It's a very relaxed environment, and like I said, it's kind of hard to contrast something with something you haven't experienced yourself, because I'm selling something that I only know one thing, and it's
Of
hard
course.
to. So.
I mean, for one thing, like obviously you touch upon the fact that Karlskrona is like a sleepy town. It doesn't have the concerts and the nightlife. But I would venture to guess that the students in Karlskrona are also more invested in their programs and in their projects, and also have the time to focus on that. There's less distractions, I guess you could say.
Yeah, there's not terribly a lot of distractions, unless we distract each other.
Yeah.
Which we obviously do, because.
I heard school is open 24/7 for you guys.
Actually, yeah, it is, but you're not allowed to sleep,
No.
spend the night there, but you can sit there.
You can stay awake
Yeah.
for all night.
Yeah, because right now we have like a 36-hour hack.
Oh.
So they're gonna sit in the school for 36 hours, basically, and yeah, I'm missing that. Well, missing is a relative term, but yeah, those are awesome fun, and if you go for the Hyper Island, you're gonna experience something very awesome.
Mark, you studied in Karlskrona last year. Now you're up here in Stockholm.
Yes.
Can you shed any light on your experience, since you've experienced both?
Yeah, I think to be totally honest and kind of clear, like Karlskrona is less distraction than Stockholm.
Yeah.
Because I mean Stockholm is a bigger city. I would say Karlskrona is much further away from the industries, because here you have like the industry around the corner. I think there's like one ad agency in the whole Karlskrona. Otherwise, I think like you can put a lot of time and dedication, and it's easier to do that when you're in Karlskrona because you don't have that much else to do. But also, that's like in Stockholm, it's kind of hard because I mean you have so much other things like going around outside school and so on. So I would say it's easier to focus in Karlskrona. But in Stockholm, of course, I mean it's more like the center of Hyper in some way. It feels like. But it's more cozy, I would say, in Karlskrona, and you get a little bit closer with your classmates because you're obviously living with them because you're there all the time and so on. And it's cheaper to live in Karlskrona overall. And in Stockholm, it's I would say it's a little bit more professional and challenging. But I think it's an individual.
I think one thing that I love about Karlskrona, for one, it reminds me of home where I grew up, but we have like a campus there, like a real actual like campus feel. You have like a little plot of land. We're literally on an island. You walk out of Båtsman, which is one of our spaces, and you have a lighthouse, and you have water, and it's like there's a right? Harbor.
Yeah, that's actually super nice.
Super nice.
Oh,
Whereas like
sorry.
here you're like in an industrial park, but
Yeah, well, like
it's my takeaway.
Especially during summer,
Summer is beautiful.
Stressy day, just take your bathing shorts on and jump in the water because it's like it's a bathing site, 50 meters, I think, or 100 meters outside.
Question.
So that's nice. Winter though.
Visit the different schools. So if you study in Stockholm, can you go to Karlskrona for like an, I don't know, learning adventure or something? Or
I like that. We should do more of this.
Actually, you can visit. For at least for us, we've had 3 people from Karlskrona here. You can visit, but you're not participating sort of in. You're not jumping in any group or anything. You can sit here and work, but you're not officially in the class.
Yeah.
if you know they're having like a lecture or somebody comes speaking, can you join that class?
I believe so. Yeah. And I mean, we have students that are in Karlskrona that come up for like school-wide parties or events. Yeah.
It's like all over. I mean, if you go to, I went to New York and stopped by Hyper Island there, and they really forced me to stay and be there for a couple hours. So I think wherever you go to any city Hyper Island exists, I think you're mostly welcome to join the. To join the.
Like in the program plan.
No.
But we actually, the DM class, because there is a DM class in Karlskrona, we are talking about having exchange week, which we set up ourselves. So some of the ones who wants to from Stockholm goes to Karlskrona, and yeah, it will be like a week of just trying it out.
Yeah.
It's actually about the guest lectures.
Yep.
Do you get the same people to go to Stockholm and Karlskrona, or like is it easier to get people to come to Stockholm to do lectures?
Good question. Sometimes we have the same lecturer, sometimes it's different. I don't work as a PM, a program manager, so I don't know how difficult it is to actually book those lecturers.
It actually depends because we arrange our own. Like if we wanted G-Monk, a famous guy, to come here and lecture, and one of my classmates wanted. So we decide who we want to come here, and then we just approach them and kind of force them to come. And then we just told our PM, our program manager, that we've sort of set this up. Can you arrange with the tickets, and if it's okay, price-wise, and all of that?
The programs like Motion Creative and Digital Media Creative follow the same course curriculum. So both programs have the same learning outcomes. So you're supposed to learn the same things. So you should get that content regardless.
Yeah, so that would be another good thing when going into Hyper Island, to think on people who you want there. Because in this project as well, we are inviting relevant speakers and lecturers, so we get the most out of this program. Because sometimes it's like, do we have this, and there are people complaining, and it's like, just take charge and do it yourself, like you're doing as well. And you learn so much from it. For instance, if you are a developer, we invited someone who did a crash course in Scrum, and it effectiveness of at least 2 teams who weren't using it, have never heard of it before, and I love it as well. So
cool. Any questions regarding location?
About you mentioned Scrum.
Yeah.
Are you using it as a part of project management methodology?
Yeah.
In all programs?
No. Did you hear the question back there? No. So she said that he mentioned Scrum. Can you repeat it again? Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
Is it part of project?
Actually, my question is about project management methods that you use, because I guess if you work with project, it's like some sort of methods, because there are several, and Scrum is one of them. So I was just wondering how you manage the teams.
yeah, I've taken the role of project manager for my teams a lot, so it's depends. If it's development, it's a lot of like lean, agile, and we haven't really tried Scrum that much yet, but we have sort of, but we bent the rules because we
But it's only for your program, isn't it? Or is it?
We actually had a lecture on Scrum because for everyone else that doesn't know what Scrum is, it's sort of a way to project lead a project. We had a lecture about it because most of us hadn't used it before.
So it's a technique, it's not...
Yeah, it's a technique. And
Nothing
we
you
just
need to know
got
about.
a workshop sort of to get a feel for it in a very, we had I think 10 minutes, so usually you drag it out for a longer time, but she wanted us to really feel what it was like, and we were supposed to build a paper animal. That was our quest. So we get the feel for it, but some groups use it, some groups don't, depending on who you are.
Yeah. What I was talking about was more an example of where we took development because we felt that we lacked certain tools to lead a project or whatever. So it's not like a prerequisite knowledge you need to have to go to Hyper and not at all. So yeah.
Cool. Dun dun dun. Can you read that from back there? It's kind of light. I don't know if they'll pick it up on the camera, but internships and jobs. Ooh. Question.
So the DMC program, Digital Media, so the internship period is 30 weeks, and it starts 2-3 months after the second year, after the beginning of the second year, right?
November.
Yeah. So if his question is regarding the time frame of the internship for the digital media program. If the digital media program is 90 weeks long, the internship is a third of that length. So it's 30 days. So it's the last 30 weeks of the program.
But that wasn't my question.
Oh,
It
your
was like the
question?
prelude to it.
Oh, sorry.
But what if I'm really keen to do internship between the first and the second year? I think you have like 2 months break or so in the summer.
In the summer we have 6 weeks.
Or 6 weeks.
Yeah,
That's
it's
not
like,
long enough.
Or Hyper Island is like a job, you would say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's only like 5 or 6 weeks, and then me personally, I'm thinking about going for working with a project or internship during the summer as well.
Okay.
But it's
It's
up
an
to you.
option.
Yeah, of course, if you want to.
Yeah, it's something that you would just pick up, like, talk about with your program manager.
Okay.
Because at Hyper Island, we say that you're in charge of your own learning. You're in charge of your education. So nobody's keeping you here. It's up to you. The thing is that the people, our students, they want to be here. So it's entirely up to you.
Thanks.
Question?
Yeah, when we're on the topic of who is keeping you here,
Yeah.
you always talk about like you learn like is there something you just can't is there a limit for how long you can be away or can you be kicked out or no?
Yes.
Is there a limit?
Yeah, of course.
How much you can do?
Of course. Basically, you have like three. We actually do self-assessment now. The students are responsible for assessing themselves. And they assess themselves on 3 criteria. Pass with distinction, pass, or fail. And you guys have to like be your own advocates to a panel of industry people. And so they present videos and projects on how they believe they've learned the topic or learned the stuff that was required. And then the panel of industry people, they determine, okay, did Idil meet the learning requirements? Does she pass with distinction? But again, I'm not 100% sure, but like if you miss, I think
There's
it's...
no absent.
There's no
like,
absence?
Yeah, they removed it.
They removed it, okay.
So it's only about assessment, and it isn't as hard or grueling or scary as it sounds like. It wasn't like top model. It was basically 2 people that want you to succeed as much as you want. So they are gonna ask you questions. They are gonna make sure that you learn these things, but they are on your side still.
Mm.
So it's not scary, but it's really good for you to actually sort of do an inventory of what you know of yourself.
What happens if you fail?
You do it all over again.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
So
works?
no, you prepare. You get time to prepare, and you do reassessment.
They'll
Because
give you
it's for you. It's not for anyone else. For you to succeed. So.
They will also give you good feedback, so you
Yeah.
know what you failed on, so you can
Yeah.
prepare for next time.
And yeah, you're also I know I can do this. I just didn't document it well enough, because that's another thing. Document and take notes, because that's invaluable when you look for your self-assessment and also for, well, learning in general, to remember stuff. So.
Questions regarding internships? Yeah, back there. Yeah,
I guess internship is about learning.
of course.
Same as here, but when you start Hyper, you don't need to be a professional in Photoshop or programs.
No.
And with an internship, it's generally the same there. You don't have to be an expert in programs. It's more about you go here, you're a cool person.
Yeah. So the internship, our students are responsible for arranging their internships. So they find a company or an organization that might project manager. And it all depends on what that organization needs. So.
And Hyper Island is really good at like helping you get connected with other Hyper Islanders, if you can call them that, and you meet a lot of industry people. So it's always good to like take notes and follow them on Twitter and stuff like that. So we get, yeah, good connections through Hyper Island as well.
Question.
Has it ever happened that someone didn't make it an internship? Or, I don't know, what would happen if
Yeah. In my experience, everybody has gotten an internship, but students can get jobs. Some students might be a bit senior when they come to Hyper Island and might think that the word internship is taking a step back in their career, so they just get a job. Other students start their own startups. They start their own businesses. So there are creative ways, I guess, around the internship. But if you're just like, say, late to start your internship, then you will receive your diploma later. So for instance, if it takes you like a month longer than the rest of the group to nail down that perfect internship, then it's going to take you a month longer for you to receive that piece of paper that says you've completed the program. But I don't know in my experience if there was one person that just didn't do it. Svenung, do you have an instance?
Do you have
Yeah.
defining internship? If it's needed.
So can I ask, interactive art director student, motion student, you guys are about to go on your internship, right? In like just a matter of a couple weeks? How has Hyper Island supported that process?
Okay, I would just start by saying that just by being a Hyper Island student, just by having that in my email address, it has opened some doors. So this is a start. This is a way to help.
There was actually I think a job advertisement that just said, well, we want you to know this and that and this and this, or you could have studied at Hyper Island. They actually didn't, like, that was front end, I think, and they wanted you to have a lot of prerequisite learnings, but if you had studied at Hyper Island, you could just get a job anyways.
And there's also emails every day about internships.
Internship and jobs,
Yeah.
smaller, like, just collaborations.
What has been like the biggest challenge, I guess, so far in squaring away your internship requirement? Has there been any challenge? So it's
Five-minute-long video is pretty long. So, Mark. It's like we have this Facebook group, which is basically like support for the creative tasks.
Yep.
You must be there. Get in there.
It's called Creative Task Support Group. Facebook group.
Yeah,
And there's actually some good conversation going on right now.
It's really good. I think we are more friendly, like the old students, more friendlier than you think. So it's like go out there and maybe you can have like coffee or email or whatever.
It can be anything. Yeah, as long as it pertains to the brief. So the brief is found on the application page. It's the creative task. Okay. Yeah, so if you go on our website, there's a link that says Creative Task. Yeah.
I know there's a size limit
Yeah.
besides the time.
Right?
But is it possible to like upload what size or video or something?
Yeah, so I actually recommend sending a link. And for instance, you could make it private. And I've had students send in a doc that has the link within the doc and like the password. So then we go in when we close the applications in April and we review them. We just click that link and type in the password so it's protected. So that can be done on Vimeo, YouTube. Students even link to their own portfolio and then have they host their video on their website.
There was another part, I was wondering, like if you have a portfolio or a showreel or something, but it's not actually your creative house.
Right.
Where do you post your showreel?
I mean, I would just suggest like linking it in like your CV, because we're not a portfolio school, so we don't, reviewing a student's portfolio isn't part of our admissions process. So
Does it happen that you do it, or you never, like...
if we're extra curious, maybe. Yeah.
So
If I'm extra curious. Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter if you've done something before, you never like look back, it's what you do.
Well, we require you to submit your CV. So we look at your life experience. Yeah.
What carries more weight? Should I say the concept, the actual idea you have for a creative task, the approach, or the execution, the format?
Yep. So we actually assess the creative task on a couple criteria. So it's the communication and presentation. Okay. But then we also have the idea. So how innovative is the idea? How creative and how feasible is the idea? So it's based equally on presentation. So do we understand it? Do we get it? And then was the concept clear? Feasible means like could it work? Like say your solution to the creative task is like sending your dog to space. Could it work? Is it feasible? Can we actually do it?
Time machine. And stuff.
Yeah.
You can start writing about that.
Yeah.
The only like clear question in creative task was how will we create awareness in the future? And I get that it's like you need to have the answer for it, you have to have the solution.
No.
You just can have a presentation
No,
by itself, right?
exactly. So last year the creative task was based around fear.
Yeah.
And this year when we designed the creative task, we wanted to get a multitude of different submissions. We didn't want to see the same quote unquote solution over and over again. So this year's task is very broad. It's about creating a movement, a political movement, an entrepreneurial movement, a social movement, physical movement. No. There's no, at Hyper Island, there's no right or wrong answer. So, yeah. There's no solution.
Something I would recommend is that you could try to get, when you're creating your creative task, try to get the program you really want to get into the creative task, in the concept. That would be, for example, if you're applying for a digital data strategy program, try to get data into your concept. So the staff that's looking into your task really knows that you're passionate about it.
So one thing is to note is the creative task is part of your application. If you're invited to the admissions days, which includes an interview, a group task, and an individual task, you can actually leave your application behind. We're not going to look at your application again. It's your performance at the admissions day that really counts.
What's the percentage of people come to the admissions day go further and get a second right now?
Yeah, it depends on the amount of applications we receive. So for instance, we invited 74 students to the digital media admissions day. We received like 218 or 19 apps as their first choice. So 35, 36 or 7. There's like a buffer. And then we also have international students on top of that. So like the motion class is like 48 students, 47 students.
Well, what do you get out from the admission day? Like, what is the purpose of it?
For you or for me?
For you.
So the purpose of the admissions day is actually for us to meet the applicants. The applicants that come to the admissions day, those are the students that we really, really want to meet. You've wowed us on paper. Now we want to see this person. Is this person going to be a good fit for the program? Are they a good team member? Can they communicate well enough in the individual creative tasks?
And if you're not invited, then you probably won't get in.
Well, we have, you can apply to 3 different programs. So if you're not chosen to your first choice, you can go to your second or third choice. Yeah. You could.
Yeah.
Question?
Isn't it like digital admissions go?
For international students.
Yeah. Or for. Yeah, I did as well because then it was. Well, I was not able to attend.
Yeah.
I was,
So we do digital admissions days for our international students, but for students that we invite to the admissions day that, for instance, are studying in the States, had a family emergency, and can't make it, we'll arrange for a digital admissions day, which is we conduct the same day via Skype. You had a question back there? It could be, yeah. Yep. It's up to your interpretation. That kind of time frame that we threw in there was put in to allow you to think really, really big, but not like totally crazy. In the year 2030, I'm not sure how. We're not going to live in like the Jetsons world, but like it's to allow you to be curious and adventurous. Yeah. Yep.
Is it possible to collaborate with someone in creative tasks?
So it's actually individual, but we don't communicate on our website that says that we don't allow it. I guess maybe I was a bit too trusting when I wrote it, but yeah, I assume that students will get some sort of help or insight or feedback, but we don't encourage you to do a collaborative creative task. Because, for instance, if you were to team up with your friend, and you submitted the same creative task, you might score the same score, but you might have different life experience. You might have different previous studies, maybe irrelevant studies. You might not have work experience. So one might get in, and the other one didn't. It's like, oh shit, we submitted the same creative task. So I discourage you doing that. Okay? Question?
What is it that you're looking for? I assume it's from the CV, like life experience and previous education.
Yep. So what you include in your CV, we want you to back up with certificates. So if you include that you've studied at Harvard in your CV, I want to see a Harvard transcript. Okay? If you've included in your CV that you've worked as a graphic designer, I want to see an Arbeitsintyg or whatever. Right? Oh, that's what it's called. Or a letter of recommendation, or a pay stub, or a written job offer. So the opportunity for you, and I suggest that you do this, is to back up and validate what you've included in your CV. Okay? Question?
I don't know if you talked about it in the States, but the interviews,
Yeah.
like where do they come in? Is it before the submission day? Is it after?
The interviews are during the admissions day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's okay. Any more on this
Yes,
CT?
real
Yeah.
quick one. How about the individual creative task on the admission day?
Yeah.
Details around it.
I can share it with you. We haven't written it. It's a new one each year.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much the same criteria. You're based on communication. It's not digital. It's analog. So you do it while you're here at Hyper during the day. He asked about the individual creative task during the admissions day. So we give you a brief that you answer, and you've got like 90 minutes to come up with a concept and illustrate it. Yeah, I can't really share it because it's not written.
On the admissions day,
Yeah.
you illustrated verbally then, you make a presentation or?
No, it's like on. I'm not sure if it's going to change yet because we haven't written it yet. But last year is you had 2 sides of an A4 piece of paper, and that you could write your concept, you could illustrate it, you could say "F you, Jeff." I don't know. Yeah.
Well, when you judge creative task, do you judge performance or do you judge concept or do you judge all together? If I'm not good like but my concept and idea behind it was excellent.
Yeah, so it's a similar question to that was up here, and this is the original creative task when you apply, and it's a couple criteria. So it's how you communicate it and present it, but then also like the concept, the idea, how innovative, creative, and will it work kind of thing. So if I can just provide any advice, say you're not the most technical film editor, who cares? Like as long as we understand what you're trying to say, we'll assess it. If you make it like Steven Spielberg beautiful, then you might get some extra points. Question.
Sorry,
It's cool.
I don't know if you're allowed to answer, but what did you do? Like, when you got in?
I did because my topic was fear as well, and so I looked at social phobias, and then I created an app, which was let's say you're here, and then I don't have social phobias, but if you went to like the store or the first day at your job, you would get like icebreakers that would appear that you could like actually say if you have a hard time like speaking to new people. They could like do something. Then I tried it out in real life. That's what I did.
That would come in very handy in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
I see how to formulate this. It was basically, I started off with a paper about colors, typography and stuff, really standard boring. Then I switched around halfway, where I explained why you look here and you look here and you look here and why you did it. So it was a way for me to convey a user experience and how I am able to subconsciously steer your attention just based on colors and type of text, and it worked apparently.
I had a concept about fair around your neighborhood, and that fair shouldn't be fair in your home and your neighborhood. It should be the area where you're safe. And I did a video, including Jeff, where I explained my concept.
He stalked me for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. And because I wanted to be in the data, that's why I said that earlier, I wanted to be in the digital data program. I stalked Jeff on the interwebs and created a concept around Jeff.
Oh god. Okay, mine was around fear about actually dangerous places in your neighborhood or in your city. So to make people go out of their homes and go to those places. So it was actually an installation where you would, since the idea was to pop your bubble, it would be like that social bubble.
to really open up to each other and tell them stuff that you really want to learn. So it's, yeah, and that part interesting.
Yeah, you can't all be love. But how do you like deal with conflict?
Oh, conflicts. We have actually a really good tool. We always are giving like, tools and ways to work more effectively together and communicate better. And then I think the best way of managing conflicts, one of the tools is feedback. We're giving like a really good structure of how we should receive and give feedback without any of the parts not hurting. So I would say that's the best tool for my part.
And you had way weeks, like introduction, 3 or 4 weeks of introduction in uni. It's a lot about getting to know your classmates and yourself, and with that foundation, it gets so much easier, I would say. And there's different cultures in like, different classes and for different years. I heard that last year's motion had a different culture than what we had. Then this year it's the same as I guess last year we all found it here. But our needs and wants is a bit different from last year. So they customized the program for us also. PM had to change our program in a weekend because she realized it didn't really fit us, so she changed it up a bit. Also, but we all share, I guess, something.
Yeah, we live here. We just not we don't sleep here. Some do.
Sometimes I see you. Aki, you have something to add?
On the conflict part, I would say, as a person who used to be not good at conflicts, you really learn how to deal with it. And you also learn how to deal with it in a way that it doesn't become a big, huge ass fight, even though sometimes it's a fight, but that in the end you always solve it. And what the tools that you get to build up with it, you do a lot of reflections, you do a lot of feedback on message, and also being just understanding that the conflict is just a part of the process. It's not a big deal. So you put down all of your reactions when it comes to conflicts. And actually, I know several people in my class that are better at dealing with conflicts now than they were at the beginning. So it's a life skill in a way.
And like referring back to the Hyper family is that we see each other grow, and it's kind of cool to see like a person from the beginning of Hyper until now, and you can actually like help each other. Like, oh, I don't know what to do for specialization or the internship. You can actually give advice or give advice, support, and it's really cool. I've never experienced that in my life, and I don't think I will. So it's really cool. I said that twice now too.
We've got like 2 more kind of like subjects to go, but like we are running out of time. So do you want to just open it up for open questions? I mean, it's 8:15 already.
What are the subjects?
Yeah, so the how and the what, so the process and the content. At Hyper Island, we put a lot of emphasis, or equal as much emphasis on the process as well as the content. So if you work together in a group and you have a brief, and the end result is, say, an app, what you're going to create along the way is equally as important as how you're going to work together. And this is a bit of a new concept to a lot of our students. It's kind of interesting. And the other subject was projects, briefs, and clients. So what's it like to actually work with demanding clients, like short deadlines? So I've got questions that I can help move the dialogue around, or we can just keep it open.
Ask away.
Yeah? So ask whatever your little heart's desire. Yeah.
For my grade, like you actually, I guess there's not a lot of like, courses for the actual aesthetic part, or the creative part to get like any lessons or courses about the actual Do you get animation courses or anything like that?
We actually had two lectures from a company in LA, came here and had a workshop. We divided the workshop into two, beginners and advanced. And the final workshop that we did with them was creating a 5-second video to show our skills. And we helped each other along the way. And it was great. I've opened it was for After Effects, and I've opened it before in YouTube, but not in this way, not for animation. So I learned a lot there, but I learned even more with just my classmates reading a project.
Okay.
Actually, because then we had a longer time, and we had someone in the group that was really more experienced, and he went around and helped everyone, like analyze and learn skills.
So you get to like people tell you what programs they use and then you can check it out.
I've learned like 50% of what I've learned here, studying in music first, is from my classmates.
But there's not a lot of like actual like courses or stuff like.
It depends on what you as a class choose to keep. So
You're responsible,
Yeah.
pretty much.
We
So
also have-
we put you in charge. So if learning Adobe After Effects
Yeah.
is important,
Yes. Linda accounts as well.
Yeah.
Linda tutorials.
So you can do all the courses in your own time.
Mark?
I would say like I attended motion graphics last year, and I didn't know prep before I got it, and I think it's really like it's up to you how much you learn. But tutorial is also a key. I learned so much during that year, and as you said before, like most of the stuff was actually from my classmates, and also from myself doing stuff, because you have this environment that's pushing you towards creating things. And we had some workshops from studios and artists, but the most valuable part was actually like the environment and your push to create stuff, because that's the hard thing to do when you're not in school. So you're basically your own teacher, and it's not that much like courses. You're gonna have an animation course. It's more that it's gonna be involved in the process, and you'll learn along the way and develop. It's hard, I would say so, but it's not. I think this is a really efficient way to learn. So don't be scared about it. There's no lectures. I mean, no lectures, but not sessions.
The like assignments is the thing that's pushing you like instead of lectures, you have like an assignment.
But you also have a team. You're counting on one another. So if you don't do your task, then you're letting your team down as well. So there is a lot of motivation and a lot of support from your classmates.
This is like an overall question. If you could go back 1 year and think about when you received what you learned today, what would you tell yourself if you knew it was wrong?
Don't be so nervous. So nervous. I was like, fuck Hyper, I'm not going to apply, I don't like it. And then I applied. But yeah, I was really nervous. Just to calm down and not comparing myself with under Vimeo. I uploaded my video there, and then I just like searched for Hyper Island, creative task, blah blah, and then just saw what the other people created, and I was like, I'm not good, like, yeah, not comparing yourself.
Don't compare yourself to anyone else. It doesn't matter if it's Steven Spielberg material and yours is like stick figures. It
Stick
really
figures
doesn't
are
matter.
cool. I dig stick figures.
Yeah.
Question?
Yeah. Make sure you told us cool stuff about school. Could you elaborate on, I won't say things that disappointed you, but maybe turned out differently than you expected?
The printers.
I fixed it.
No.
Upstairs or here?
No, but I would say that I didn't expect. Yeah, it was a lot in my journey. Whatever. It was like the first time in Hyper. I was expecting to learn more. It took me some time to grasp this that I'm learning. I was creating my own names. That took some not because when I was in university before, you wrote like a essay or what you say,
An exam?
exams, yeah, or something, and you passed, and then you're like, yeah, I know this now, but you don't do that here, so you don't really know what you're learning until you like sit down and say like, on this project I learned this, do that. So it's, I don't know, you need to know what you're learning, and you need to see it in some way. I don't know if that's
I would say
really
that
weird.
you, in university, if you did an exam, you ran for it, you did it, and then like it disappeared somewhere around the year, in the day, and then you really wouldn't really remember all of it. But here, because of assessment, you really have to look back on what you learned and sort of what you know now, and you work on things in another way than writing exams. So you actually, I would say, learn things more for life or for one career.
Yeah, you actually learn how to learn. This is basic.
Also, it's a couple of things I'm disappointed in my program. Hyper Island quite soon gave me the opportunity to change it. So as soon as you are disappointed, there's opportunities to make it happen. This is that.
And also if you're like disappointed or you feel like my need is to have this or something, you should actually like express that or fix that, and that's up to you. If you feel like I'm not learning this, then take a side project and learn that. Like it is up to you. So we're just expressing. And we also have like at the end of the forms, so you can evaluate if the project how it was, the project. So you can write what was good and what was bad.
And the industry leaders, each project, for us, each project group that we have an industry leader, that person from the industry comes in here, and so he starts the project, and the one that comes, the one that comes back and gives you feedback on what you've done.
We have some questions.
I have two practical questions. First is, does Hyper Island supply us with something? Is it like use our computers or I don't know, maybe some classrooms or something, I don't know. The other question is, if I think there are two programs which are applicable to me, I'm allowed to apply for two, do I have to have two ways to ask them, or only one, or will be the ways to tell? And the third one, will we get a degree?
Okay, I'll go from the answer that I remember. You get a certificate. So our hyper programs are certificate programs. So no degree or like bachelor's degree. You can apply to up to 3 different programs. So say it's digital media, motion graphics, and digital data strategist in those priorities. And you only have to submit one creative task. You only submit one application. And your first question was? Yes. So we don't supply students with equipment. So you do have to bring your own laptop. But you get the Adobe suites and the Lynda account. And for instance, we have like a green screen and cameras and stuff that you can use.
So for the panel, what's the hardest challenge you've come across this month?
What's the biggest challenge you've had so far in your Hyper Island career?
I know mine.
Yeah, good.
We had a project that was digital media and motion. Yeah, and then we were doing an exhibition together, and I was the project manager for it, and even the promotion. So we were kind of project managing for both classes, and it was a lot to do.
It was 2.5 weeks. We got a venue from Hyper. They said, create the content and the exhibition. Everyone, we had smaller groups within the classes that did the pieces for the exhibition, and then we had a core group that took care of the exhibition and did all the screens. And in 2.5 weeks, what we did was
It was amazing. Like it was like it was the second month, the third month, and I always know that I always knew that I wanted to be something in project managing, but this was like, what is happening? 100 people, like students, yeah. Yeah, it turned out okay.
It actually was one of the best parties that Hyper Island has had in 5 years now. Because there was a line outside for people that couldn't get in.
Yeah.
We did
it
more
was,
than that.
yeah, it was a really big challenge, so that was my biggest.
Yeah, I have a question about the interactive art director program. How much do you work with physical materials for print work, for example? Like physical materials, different papers and that kind of stuff. You work a lot with the concept, for example, or visual identity.
In terms of delivering something or in the process?
Yeah, I expect you that, of course, work with. I mean, it's maybe obvious, but.
No, I did, but in the ending, or?
If you learn much about the, like the materials, different papers and.
Oh, okay. More of for example, print design, and then you want to learn about different papers where you can deliver like a different kind of packaging, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Okay.
not like that.
Okay.
We learn more of, for example, branding, strategy, and then we learn more about the user experience and interface. It's more of a webbing thing, but also you have the practice module where you can get in contact with a lot of things. For example, you play with Arduinos, you play with, you have like 3D printers, and you learn how it works and what are the possibilities of working with that. So
Yeah, I would say it's more like interactive and digital than traditional print in the IND program.
Okay.
So my understanding is that upon graduation, I would acquire a vocational diploma, right?
Yep.
But with this vocational diploma, can I go on to studying a master degree at Hyper Island, like straight after completion of my 2 years? Yeah.
That's a good question. We haven't had any students do that. I don't believe your YH, your vocational degree, allows you to study at an MA program, like at Stockholm University, for example.
No, here.
But here it will also the master's programs that we provide in Manchester and in Singapore, we can waive the bachelor's degree requirement by showing that you have 5 years of relevant full-time work experience.
Okay.
So, for instance, if you do the Interactive Art Director program, it's only a year. So you would have to prove that you have 4 extra years of relevant work experience for us to consider you for the MA program.
And are DMA programs on a level with all the other accredited universities and institutions?
Yeah, it's a master's degree accredited by Teesside University in the UK,
Okay.
and they're our accrediting body in Singapore and the UK. So yeah, it's a full-on master's degree. Question?
What's the main difference between so-called bachelor in digital media and master? I mean, is it, I don't know, if it's more, way more in-depth than the master's one, or is it?
Yeah, so we don't actually provide bachelor's degrees.
No, that's what I meant.
Right. So
like
it's
the regular
so what is the difference between digital media and the MA in digital media management? I mean, the time frame is the biggest one. The time frame in the MA course is 9 months. You're cramming a lot of stuff in those short 9 months. You have to write a thesis at the end of your course, and it's more of like a leadership program, whereas digital media creative here in Stockholm and in Karlskrona, it's a very broad, fundamental program where you actually don't need any prior work or studies to qualify. Whereas the MA, you need a bachelor's degree, so you need to go to university for 4 years. Yeah, I would say the intensity level and yeah.
During the admissions process, you only look at the actual application, the CV and the creative task. Was it like, I recognize this name or some form of nepotism?
No, I'm not Swedish, so I don't have any family in this town. So, no. Yeah, we only look at the application. So your certificates, your creative task, and your CV. Yeah. And the photo that you submit is only for, in the event that you are admitted, that the program managers, the teachers, can create their class list and then can put a face to a name. Yeah.
And you do this for within 5 minutes plus creative task?
No, we just review the creative task in 5 minutes. Yeah. Question?
What's the value of this certificate you get from this? Let's say you took digital media compared to like bachelor in US.
Oh,
What's the
it's a totally different level. So a bachelor's degree is recognized around the world as a bachelor's degree. A YH diploma is, in English, it would be a vocational or like a tech school certificate. So it doesn't necessarily translate. For Swedes, Swedes understand what an yrkeshögskola is. For instance, for me, in the States, if I were to bring this degree back home or diploma back home, it would just be a vocational school. Yeah. So unfortunately, it's not as widely recognized, but Hyper Island as a brand is widely recognized, and our students kick major ass. So when you join a team at an organization or you get to an interview, your experience as a Hyper Island student should shine through. Yeah, if that helps.
And I mean also a lot of the businesses around that we are touching upon, the actual education where you went doesn't really fit with that.
Secondary.
It's not like it's like, oh, he has a bachelor in animation. It's more like how good you have a portfolio, what can you show.
Yeah.
So you're basically as good as your last piece. So it's not a real problem.
Good. Question? Yeah.
I have a question for Idil. What was your thought process when you choose digital media? And how would you, what do you recommend others to think of applying for a class and choose digital media or something else? How should we think?
Yeah, well, now I don't know. No, but it was not really knowing what I wanted to focus on, and yeah, because I didn't feel like motivated to do it, like movies. I actually my first pick was DM, and then my second pick was ID, but I didn't qualify for that, and then yeah. I don't really know what I was thinking, so I think it was, I wanted to try out a lot of things just to know if I wanted to focus on something more special or something like that. Is that an answer? Like, just to maybe, try a lot of things just to find like what suits you the best.
But now afterwards, how would you see DM? Is it like more opportunities, or within like you can explore a little bit more of the other programs?
Yeah, or definitely it feels like, for me it feels like we are doing everything that they're doing in 2 years in some way. But it's a lot of strategies, and it's a lot of knowing how a company works, and you can actually try out every part of a
see if you want to. You can be a designer in one project, you can be project manager in one, and you can be copy and everything. So it's, yeah, you get to try out whatever. And then you can also have like a time and say like now for these projects I just want to do design or I just want to do copy or the creative process and everything. So yeah. Is that a little bit answering your question?
We actually got a question on Twitter. Why is it important to study digital data? From at Predikaka. Sophie.
She knows. She knows why.
It's a good question.
But why I applied was that I felt that data is becoming more important in every industry, in the society, in the advertising industry, and it's everyone is starting to understand it, but they're just trying to figure out how to use it. So I felt that it was a great opportunity for me to develop in the marketing industry. So that's why I applied for it, and that's why I think it's very nice.
I have a comment. When I started at Hyper Island as an employee and tried to learn about the programs, I talked to a friend of Sirach who studies at the Digital Data Strategy, and I asked him the big building blocks of the whole program, and then he explained very well, so I really understood like an overview level of what the program is. And then that it's kind of same for all the programs, maybe the building blocks are a bit different, but you correct me if I'm wrong, but for the digital data strategy, the first building block when you come to Hyper Island is to learn about the methodology. You know, the basic of the methodology that you're going to use for the whole program with your teammates and at the school and so on. And the next layer, the next building block of the program was kind of to be able to analyze data. And after you kind of touched upon that, you got a brief for a project where you analyze data, but also visualize the data. And in the end, you added everything up and you got the whole picture.
That's something that sums our program. We're supposed, or we are able to actually be hands-on in code and know how to get the data, and then get insights from the data, and then also visualize it for people that only wants to know one specific part, and then they don't want to see 100 different numbers. They just want to know the real insight and how they can use that information and go back and communicate with their consumer or be efficient in organization or whatever it could be. So our role is quite broad. It's to be the geeky one. It's to be the smart that collects the cool insights or the important insights, and the one that visualizes it so everyone can understand it. And I think that summarized the whole program. 3 different parts.
What do you guys think? Any further questions? You want? Just want to say thanks. Here's our emails. Write them down. We're open for coffee, open to chat via Skype. Tweet us, find us on Facebook, shoot us an email, send us chocolates. But do you guys have any other questions for the panel or for us? No? Yes?
Are you going to kick us out or can we mingle?
We can mingle and then I'll kick you out.
Sounds great.
Cool. Thanks.